As a leader, you've got a good group of employees, but does it ever feel like they're kind of undermining themselves a little bit and hurting your productivity due to them not following your instructions? These are your policies and procedures, the way you want things done. So, how can you fix that problem? We're going to talk about that today. Also, I'm going to give a few suggestions for leaders because some of you, not you, but the other people, you might be undermining yourself when it comes to giving clear instructions. Who am I? My name is Ken Okel. I'm a professional speaker. I talk to companies and associations about ways you can improve your performance on the job. I pull from a professional background that is a little different. Broadcast news, hurricane relief, professional ballet. I know, unusual combination, but in each and every field, I had to perform at a high level every day under pressure. Back when I was a TV news reporter, I learned about the importance of clear work instructions. From time to time, I would get to cover rock concerts that would come to town. The way it would work is the media would be allowed to come into the show for about 2 songs. We could get some video. I could see what the crowd was like. Relatively fun assignment. During the time when we were in the show, and no, we didn't have a chance to hang out backstage, I would notice the sound engineer's table, because usually we'd be stationed right behind that person. On that table, there was always a piece of notepaper on which there was handwritten all the songs that were going to be performed for that show. It was called a set list, basically a rundown for the sound engineer. So he or she would be able to make sure all the microphones were properly used. No one was singing when there was no sound or something like that. All the details were there. Those were clear work instructions. Keep in mind, the rock band, the technical crew, these are all world-class people. I mean, they are at the top 1% of their profession. Still, it made sense that they would always have these clear instructions so they would know exactly what to do so the show would go off perfectly. When it comes to instructions, you really need to make sure the clarity is there because that will help prepare people for their performance in your workplace. Really think things through. Do people understand what you need them to do and especially why you need them to do it? Why is it important that they do it this way? This could be about a customer service request, even things like how you answer the phone. There's a special way you need things to be done, and people need to follow it. If the instructions are vague, people are going to start to freelance. You want to avoid that as much as possible. You want them to know what you need them to do. And as I mentioned before, let them know the why. Have you ever gotten instructions that just seemed kind of silly and you didn't really follow them that much because they seemed silly? Later, you found out why they were important. Maybe it was even something like a health code. When you find out the why, you're like, oh, I really need to follow these instructions. Otherwise, they just seem like kind of an annoyance. It's like, well, if we did it this way, it'd be faster and better. But in reality, that's a big mistake. So the more clarity you're able to give people, the better they will do. There's also a certain element of repetition that is important. Not necessarily every day do you need to be repeating your instructions, why they should be done, but from time to time, it's good to make sure people hear them again. This is especially important in organizations where there may be some turnover. So the people who originally heard your instructions, they followed them, over time, they're going to go. Are the new people who are coming in getting the full picture about why the instructions are important, why they need to follow them, or are they just getting a real fast food type version that doesn't explain things? Or perhaps maybe not much of an explanation at all. So is it any wonder people aren't doing what you need them to do because they don't know? Don't assume. From time to time, make sure you're explaining things to people. You get bonus points if there are important processes or procedures. Have those spelled out in some sort of document. Maybe it's in a binder that people get, employee orientation. Maybe it's something that's online. So the information is communicated in a few different ways. You may say it periodically. It's also in some sort of document. It's right there. If people aren't sure what to do and no one's around, they have a way to find out what they should do. Does your culture encourage people to go the extra mile when it comes to instructions? I understand that for some employees, when a new colleague comes on board, you're already really busy. Do you have a lot of time to give the instructions to someone to explain the importance of them? Or do you kind of rush through them real fast and then say, okay, there's the bathroom, there's the employee kitchen, clean up after yourself, good luck. Make sure that your employee culture really stresses getting things right, following the procedures, doing them as they are expected to be done. Make that onboarding process a really effective one. Finally, when instructions are communicated well and understood by employees, they have an opportunity to find potential problems with them. Because you may not have thought things through as a leader. There may be a wild card you don't know about, an unexpected postal holiday, some sort of other change that could affect the instructions. When employees who deal with the issue every day feel that they are empowered to come to you with concerns, well, that's going to make sure that the instructions are that much better. Otherwise, problems may be allowed to stick around, or issues are going to come up that weren't addressed by your instructions that could have been addressed. So make sure people understand you challenge them. Find a problem with this. Bring that to me if you have a concern. We'll go over it. You want people to take a proactive approach to your instructions and not just feel like they're carved in stone and can never be changed again. This really can make a big difference. So don't skip this step. Empower people. I hope these suggestions are useful. Instructions are kind of one of those sneaky things when they're not that good, there are a lot of problems, and just with a few adjustments, they can become that much more effective. To find out more about me, my name's Ken Okel. As I mentioned, I'm a professional speaker. You can find out more about me at my website, which is kenokel.com. Hey, that's just like my name. Well, there you can read many of my articles, watch some video clips from my presentation, and listen to my podcast, The 2-Minute Takeaway. If you want to shoot me an email, tvguy@kenokel.com. Funny story about that. When I worked in TV news, well, very often you'd be out in the public and people would recognize you and they'd want to say hi, but they wouldn't know your name. So they would just randomly yell out things like, hey, TV guy. I also invite you to connect with me on the social channels. The ones you see there are all under my name, Ken Okel. Thanks so much for watching. Best of luck as you continue to improve your instructions for employees at work. Take care.